Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Expect some more participants join. Okay.
CAT, can we start, sir?
Okay. Good evening to all of you. Today, continuation of in-house training. Today, we have Mrs. Harpreet Kaur, HeadMistress, and she is going to discuss a very relevant topic. As you are aware that this during pandemic, the education sector was affected, and there are a lot of stress on students, parents, all the stakeholders. And with online education, then offline sometimes, a lot of things are there. This affect the students only, and they are in stress about their mental being. I think this is a very nice topic. Says he taken. So all the best, Harpreet madam.
Thank you, sir.
Please continue, madam.
Thank you, sir. You can't calm the storm, so stop trying. What you can do is calm yourself and the storm will pass. Good evening, one and all. I welcome you to another session of in-house training. Our topic for today's discussion is pandemic and mental well-being of students. Now, what is mental well-being? There is no perfect definition for mental health or mental well-being. Trouble or issues at home can all affect mood in a negative way, whereas depression is a mental disorder that has an overpowering effect on many parts of a person's life. It can occur in people of any age and can alter behavior and attitude. We are discussing about mental disorders a lot in present situation, but the pandemic actually represents the tip of a mental health iceberg. An iceberg we have ignored for far too long. Studies have revealed that even in the absence of pandemic, psychosocial distress and poor mental health afflict far too many children across the globe. And pandemic has just aggravated it. Very few countries have set aside funding to tackle deteriorating mental health. With just 2% of government health budgets spent on mental health on average. The economic and social toll of this unaddressed mental health crisis is substantial. An analysis by the London School of Economics, for instance, estimates that mental ill health costs the global economy almost $390 billion a year. Mental health is a part of physical health. We cannot afford to view it as otherwise. Generally, when we have a problem, we try to find a solution. And if that doesn't work, there's another solution to it. But at the present moment, we don't have solution for the pandemic. So there's a feeling of helplessness, which coupled with uncertainty is fueling stress in our mind. Now, let's see a video shared by UNICEF which reflects the mental stress of the students.
I don't know what depression is, what anxiety is. I tried to tell this to one of my close cousins. After telling everything to her about my issue, the response I got was she just laughed. I am suffering from something that's being a joke to them. And at that point of time, I lost all my confidence. A very close person to my heart was my English teacher. My teacher got COVID and she left us in a time when you need friends. But due to my own anxiousness, my own anxiety, I lost all my friends. I tried to tell this to one of my close cousins. After telling everything to her about my issue, the response I got was she just laughed. Whenever I told my problem to someone, it's like, okay, depression भी तो है, एक दो दिन में ठीक हो जाएगा. Exam के पहले stress होता ही तो है, एक दो दिन पहले ठीक हो जाएगा. I asked them, do tell me what is depression to you? Depression and anxiety is what comes when you have some load, when you have some business problems, when you have some family problems, some studies issues, some emotional problems, some lack of self-love also cause mental depression and mental illness.
স্কুল বন্ধ ছিল, টিউশন বন্ধ ছিল, তারপরে এটারও বন্ধ ছিল। ফলে আমার না সবসময় মন মরা ভাব, কিছু ভালো লাগছে না। এটা কেমন লাগছে? আমি সেটা হয়তো মুখে বলে বোঝাতে পারি।
So, in the next slide, we'll see what the COVID distress might look like. Increased anxiety and uncertainty, feeling of helplessness and frustration, changes in substance use, that is harmful use of any substance for mood alerting purposes, exacerbation of existing mental health concern, that is making the existing conditions worse, feeling of loneliness or sadness, changes in eating or sleeping pattern, information or update burnout, that is a state of emotional, physical and mental exhaustion. So these are the main symptoms of distress. Now I would like to ask you, have you noticed any of the symptoms in your students or people around? Please answer in the chat box. We have discussed a few points which reflects what is mental disorder or mental distress, especially due to the pandemic. So teachers, if you have noticed, yes, Sumana writes yes. Amrit writes yes. So yes, most of you are writing yes. So yes, you have all noticed and experienced this. Actually, that's not very good, but still, if we are noticing, that's a good part. Now, let's come to the next slide, which tells us what was pre-lockdown learning system and how it helped. The pre-lockdown learning of children involved one-to-one interaction with their teachers and peer groups. Games and physical activities were an integral part of the curriculum, which helped in maintaining fitness level and improved cognitive performance of the students. Lunch breaks gave them an opportunity to interact freely with alike minds. This gave them exposure to others and they found themselves as an individual while channeling enthusiasm and energetic behavior to good use. Actually, breaks are an attempt to expose children to the real world. They learn a lot by interacting freely. A study reveals that memories and experiences as a child have a very big impact on the growth and life of a person. I think you will agree with this because we also have many childhood memories and that we are like still cherishing. Many memories of like a few days back we don't have, but the childhood memories are with us. Many of us remember our childhood teachers and maybe people who were close to us at that time. During regular school, the students participated in morning assembly. It's all reminding us of those days. Sports activities, inter and intra-school competitions, which help them in becoming competitive, enhance personality, and increase confidence. Hope you all agree. Even students who were not excellent in academics got a chance to shine. This helped them a lot in building self-esteem. So these were all actually the benefits of the regular school. Now let's discuss what has changed. Education system during pandemic. The pandemic caused shocks to the education system, with school forced to shut down during the lockdown period. In India, around 250 million students were affected due to school closures at the onset of COVID-19. The pandemic posed several challenges in public and private schools, which included an unexpected rise in dropouts, learning losses, and increase in digital divide. Some immediate measures included shifting teaching process online on an untested and unprecedented scale, conducting online assessments on trial and error basis, creating content suitable for remote learning, using technology and tools among others. However, transitioning to an online mode has had its share of challenges. These include limited access to the internet, lack of uninterrupted power supplies, absence of robust monitoring method, a hindrance to replicating the rapport between teacher and student in an online world, bridging the patchy and impersonal online experience, and increase in screen time. Now, when I was reading, means I was discussing all these points, I'm sure you all must be connecting it to the scenario which we have faced for past 2 years. Now, what are the students losing due to this change? There are more than 2.2 billion children in the world who constitute approximately 28% of the world's population. And we might be losing a whole generation of young people in terms of recognizing their full abilities and accomplishments. Now, please tell me, according to you, what the students have lost due to this change. Means you must have experience and you must be connecting with all this. So please write in the chat box, according to you, what the students have lost. Waiting, please write your ideas, please give me your ideas. Yeah, they're losing enthusiasm, good. And communication, Arlene ma'am, yes. Student-teacher interaction, confidence and communication, friends, very good. Overall grooming, very good point, Deepika. Communication and confidence, discipline, self-confidence, very good. Social relationships, sharing among classmates, very nice. Learning, interaction, yes, confidence. So, they are actually losing sense of belonging to school and the feeling of self-worth. Reduced learning time has directly affected on the students' performance, which you all will agree, I think. Students had to suddenly transit to online learning for which they were not prepared. And they had to shift device use habits from means of communication and entertainment to a mode of education. Absenteeism due to various reasons is affecting them badly, and it is feared that pandemic may become a revolving door for some of them, a door that will usher them away from school or worsen their performance. Slowly we'll get a much clearer picture about what all the students have lost. Now, can you please tell me what are we losing if our students are not coming to school? Again, I'm waiting for your answers. Friends, caring, sharing, learning. No, what are we losing? Not what the students are losing that we have discussed. Yes, our connection with them. Very true, Ravneet. And losing students, connection, emotions, very true, bonding, social interaction, Pawan ma'am, good. Relationship, yes, Poonam ma'am. Vijayashri, classroom teaching satisfaction, very true, very true. Noise, Girish sir, I agree. Monica ma'am, interaction, yes, our interactive participation, very true, Jyoti ma'am. So, actually, we are losing many hidden talents. We discovered them during our classes and the queries they put. Now, though we are just blah blah teaching them in the class. Sometimes they are saying, sometimes we are not understanding. We are losing our connection with students and one-to-one interaction, Ranjita, good. And we are losing warmth of the presence as the face-to-face learning has shifted to learning through the devices. So now let's discuss. Now let's understand the impact on mental health or mental well-being of students. The pandemic and lockdown has brought a lot of fear and anxiety among many of us. But we still talk about COVID as just an infectious disease. We need to recognize that we also have a mental health pandemic ongoing. And more even so, we need to recognize the impact that COVID has left on mental health of students. Throughout the world, an essential mode of prevention from COVID-19 has been isolation and social distancing strategies. In this backdrop, one of the principal measures taken during the lockdown has been closure of schools and activity areas. Now, these all have caused an increased stress and anxiety among students. Now, let's discuss a few more points to understand what is causing increased stress and anxiety among them. Everything is now on screen, and screen dulls us down. It numbs our emotions. This has caused a lot of changes in the behavior of children. Now, first of all, we'll discuss fatigue, also called Zoom fatigue. You must be aware of this term. Is a newly coined term during the COVID era. Zoom fatigue does exist, especially in virtual learning. During an online class, this information overload plus facing the screen for prolonged period is actually mentally draining. Though in schools we follow the screen timing guidelines which are issued by the government, we still cannot ignore the fact that in addition to attending the classes, they are preparing assignments on it and which can increase Zoom fatigue. Also, they are connected with their peer groups through electronic mode only. It's more challenging for students to learn new information, and even though they just sit in front of the computer, they feel like they're physically tired. Virtual learning fatigue is real and it may lead to anxiety and stress for both students and teachers. Yes, we are all experiencing, I think. Now, students have become more attention seekers and more dependent on their parents, coupled with increased stress and anxiety. There are various reasons and circumstances for the development of stress. Some may be Ranjita Kaur is writing, yes, yes. Some kids are harsh with, okay, parents, unknown visitors, yes, yes. Very true, very true. Okay, so we are facing this problem. and all of us. Yes, yes. We don't have much time, otherwise, we could have discussed few incidents. So I'll just discuss this part in brief. Like sometimes they enter in somebody else's name and disturb, send messages to other students or teachers, make fun of teachers. Sometimes they switch off their videos, etc. Actually, the list is long and it all has a negative impact on us as well as on the other students. So if the students who are disturbing, maybe they are not stressed, but the others, we or the other students are stressed in many ways. And stress is something very personal which nobody can actually feel in the same way. Nobody else can feel it in the same way. But yes, we can educate our students on these topics during classes, that is to use internet smartly and not access websites which they are unsure about. And regarding bullying, once we identify the students who is disturbing, we must deal firmly for everyone's peace of mind. So the next topic is another reason of stress is separation from parents due to quarantine. In many cases, a single parent or both the parents were infected by the virus and quarantined. In either condition, children were separated from their parents. Many countries have laid down strict quarantine policies. Although quarantining measures are for the benefit of the community at large, but we cannot ignore as they lose the anchor in life. Some of the students with special needs required special attention during regular classes, and now they need more support. And it really became difficult for parents to handle them on their own. Now, let's discuss the next point, that is the effect on the underprivileged students. Underprivileged means economically weaker section of the society who also face social inequality. The pandemic and lockdown world has experienced global economic turndown, which has directly worsened the pre-existing social inequality. In developing countries like India, with the imposed lockdown, the underprivileged children faced acute deprivation of nutrition and overall protection. Now, nutrition part I'm saying because they were used to get midday meal and all. And the prolonged period of stress could have a long-term negative impact on their development. India has the largest child population in the world with 472 million children. The lockdown has significantly impacted 40 million children from poor families. An increasing number of poor and street children now have no source of income, making them high-risk population to face abuse and mental health issues. Though a home represents a source of security and safety in most families, but for the poor and the underprivileged, it is just the opposite. With the restrictions of movement due to lockdown, these children have increased risk of being exploited and become victims of violence and abuse. Feelings of helplessness and family conflicts led to increased depression, anxiety, and suicidal cases. Worst of all, when schools, legal, and preventive services do not function fully, children are rarely able to report violence, abuse, and harm if they themselves have abusive homes. And in this condition also, the Deputy Director of Childline 1098 said that India saw a 50% increase in the calls received on helpline for children since the lockdown began. So this increase in rate is alarming. Poor children who lost their parents were more prone to exploitation, and many of them became child laborers. During this lockdown, schools offers distance learning or online courses to students, but this opportunity was a distant dream for underprivileged children. A study pointed out that in the poor families, in comparison to boys, the girls have decreased access to gadgets. We all know about it. So it's understood from this that they have less involvement in digital platform of education, Due to this gender inequality, increasing number of girls are dropping out from schools. This is actually a matter of concern. Now, before we move further, let's take a break and have a fun mental ability round. So these are a troubleshooter tests. Here you have to test your mental ability. Please answer in the chat box. So here is my first question. Doctor says, if you can find your name in this puzzle, you have better mental health. Please check, find your name, vertical, horizontal, wherever you're finding, please write, because if you find your name, please write. Take your time, but not much. Waiting for the answer. Yes, ma'am. Where did you get? Last line. Last line you get your name. Okay. Okay, last line. In the last line, your name. Actually, it's there. Your name you will find 3 times, I think. Try. Everybody can answer. Manisha ma'am is writing K2. Waiting for it was still Mount Everest. Thank you, Pawan ma'am. It is the correct answer. So the correct answer is Mount Everest only, because even though it wasn't discovered, it was still the highest peak. Thank you. The next question. You see a boat filled with people, it has not capsized. But when you look again, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why? Some illusion? Tell me. Boat filled with people, it's not capsized. But when you look again, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why? We have a very intelligent lot, teachers waiting for the answer. Waiting for the answer. Things are 30 seconds are over. So, should I give the answer or should I wait for 1 or 2 more seconds? I think this answer only I'll have to give. And all are married. Carried. What is it? It's married. Good. Because everyone on the boat is married. Very good. Very good. Some of you finally got the answer. Very nice. My next question is, what can you hold in your left hand but never in your right? What can you hold in your left hand but never in your right? Answer. Elbow, right hand, Pawan, very quick. Right hand, Monica Gupta. Very smart. And yes, that's the right answer. It's right hand. We cannot hold our right hand in our. We cannot hold it in our right hand. Okay. Good. Very nice. Now, why can't you take a picture of a man with a wooden leg? Why can't you take a picture of a man with a wooden leg? I think it is actually any good photograph. Anyone waiting for the answer? Answer, teachers. It has become one of the topics of concern. Many free-to-access links and helplines have been made by the international organizations and governments. Anxiety or depression exists for a longer duration. It produces other physical health problems such as migraine, headache, dizziness, nausea, or body pain. Excessively restless, anxious, or frequently sad. We find all these also sometimes during normal classes, and these are the things which we can look for. We might find such students in our classes, and as we are in regular touch, we can identify the changes quite easily through online secure questionnaires. We can also have this, we can conduct such surveys and can help students who are in need. Now, how can we help our students? We have discussed the causes of depression due to pandemic and also the ways to identify the issues. So now let us discuss what should be our role or how can we help students. We all know that teachers play a very important role in the promotion of psychological well-being of the youngsters. As we are in regular touch with our students, so we can observe and detect subtle changes in their mood, habit, and school based activities, and can help and pass the positive vibes. Teachers, you all know that the students have great faith in you, and if you have taught them something, no one can guide them otherwise easily. Hope you all agree. Now, let's see how can we help our students. We teachers can devote some time educating them about COVID-19 and preventive health behavior according to their maturity level. Though we should prefer diagnosis of depression by a professional, but meanwhile we can talk to them personally and can ask them, you don't look okay or you don't look happy. As happy is a very common word and child won't be threatened or feel offended. You can also say, would you like me to help? We can also use some class activity so they might open up. We can explain to the students to act with responsibility as it is a difficult situation, but it is difficult for everybody around us. We can conduct creative online academic and non-academic sessions by making classes more interactive, engaging students in various activities. Now, teachers, please suggest some of the activities that we can conduct to break the monotony of the online classes. Please write in the chat box if you have some ideas. Which you must be using in your classes. Waiting for the answers, replies, suggestions, ideas. Word formation game, good. Sharing jokes, yes. Good, Satmeet. And okay, we can have quizzes, puzzles, small competitions, yes, quiz, sharing stories, yes, giving more creative home assignments. So, competitions, yes. And teachers, when we conducted activities for our little ones, we always tried to use things that were easily available to them. Like when we were conducting some craft activity, we always gave them options. Keep these colored papers, and if like they were not having, it was not available to them, we always gave them the option of newspaper or something. So they enjoyed the activities and without any problem. We can assist in teaching calming exercises.